New post by Steven. Alpha 1 schedule update. Okay. So, let's take a look. Let's kill the jazz. Some recent developments have caused me to reevaluate our upcoming test schedule and make some necessary adjustments. I will be moving the NDA release and the June Alpha 1 start date to July. I know this is not ideal, and you have no idea how much it pains me to disappoint our community, but it's my responsibility to make these difficult decisions in order to ensure the test is successful. 1 second. Let me do something. I know this is not ideal, and you have no much idea. It pains me to disappoint our community, but this is it is my responsibility to make these difficult decisions in order to ensure the test is successful. Testing for the 14th of May will continue for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with an updated schedule being sent to testers today. I'm going to explain in detail the reasons for this and hope you will understand the need and agree with the benefits of this decision. Allow me first to recap the primary purpose and goals of our Alpha 1 testing phase. Server deployment and performance testing. Stress test our server deployments and player concurrency numbers with high volumes of player activity and interaction. Stand up multiple world server deployments across different geographical regions. Soak test server grid health over a continuous period of production use. Evaluate current network architecture and identify non-performing code in areas for additional optimization or refactoring. Test our build strategy and hotfix deployment procedures, account services, web-based systems, launcher and patcher stability, and cloud-based infrastructure. You guys have no idea. You guys have no idea this right here, how clutch this is, especially considering how I watched Jahlon take so much heat. So much heat. System functionalities and behavior testing in their core state, the node features in their core state, experience collection, the ability for nodes to collect and store accrued experience from players in the zone of influence, and for this data to persist in a global hierarchy. The ability for nodes to advance in stages, reflecting the appropriate advancements in the following: culture, layout, quest hooks, spawners, crafting, and processing stations, NPCs. Wow, there's a lot here. NPC, service buildings, merchant tables, prop placement, housing, citizenship, government, election appointment terms, admin interface, taxes. Wow, there is a shit ton here. There is a shit ton here. Player character systems, persistence, XP death effects, corruption and flagging, inventory systems, character paper dial and equipable items, property ownership, player storage, stats and waterfall, combat and ability systems, tab and action states, race and class selection. Wow. So ancillary systems, caravans, drops, spawns, reward table adaptations, mounts and vehicle systems, raid and party functionality, guild progression and persistence, guild hierarchy, chat. Wow. This is a lot. The above is not a comprehensive list of everything being tested in Alpha 1, but it hits the primary points. It hits the primary points. I lost my line. Okay. Not to mention a plethora of technical art implications and optimizations, but you get the gist. This is a very fundamental test that will impact the direction of development post Alpha 1, so you can understand the importance of testing and its need for player participation, attention, and feedback. Over the last month, several new developments, both internally and externally, have led me to err on the side of caution and postpone the NDA release and Alpha 1 dates to July. If it had only been one of these issues, we would have powered through it. First, with the inclusion of siege systems and the combat backend revamp, our internet code lock dates slipped a bit and ate into our QA and optimization timelines. While our feature timelines typically include a 30% padding to account for unknowns, I knew including this for our testing would be cutting it close. I made the call to take this risk due to its benefit for the overall testing period. The siege system now being in place are still going through bug testing before they are ready for prime time. Oftentimes the bug fixing can really tighten things up pretty quickly, so I gave it until the end of this weekend to evaluate. Suffice to say, these systems could benefit from another week or two of testing and bug fixing before being ready to include in Alpha 1. Wow. Wow. Second, our timeline for the move back to the studio has been accelerated, and this would have put our move-in dates in the middle of the June test window. That would have been a difficult task to juggle for the team, yet we were prepared to do so and had plans in place on how to accomplish this. However, given the other factors for the delay equation, it made more sense to get the move out of the way first and allow our teams to be in the studio during the testing period. So I'm going to say this right here. As a logistician, all he had to say was this. And it would have been enough. This alone would have been enough because you all don't know logistics. You all don't know the gravity of logistics. But let me just say this. You all have played video games in base building games. And you know full well that in base building games, you build your base first and then you conquer second. Moving their studio back in is so clutch. Finally, several new expansions launched for other live games were announced that would have coincided with our test starting June 1st. We estimate roughly 25% of our current testing pool are active players across these titles combined. This fact presents us with forcing our testers to choose between participating in our testing environment, which will be a long and arduous responsibility, or playing an expansion with their friends and other popular titles. As I outlined earlier, this testing period is an important one. It will require not only participation, but also the attention and feedback from both our testing audience and the broader Ashes of Creation community and general public. Coupled with the above facts, media coverage and content creators would have been asked to cover either Alpha 1 for Ashes of Creation or other live launches on June 1st. While the primary purpose of this testing and NDA release is to collect data, gather feedback, and test systems, it's also an opportunity to grow our community, building on the already millions of people who are following our development and participating in the success of this project. So with the above information, I've made the decision to postpone our Alpha 1 presentation and testing period in the month of July instead of June. If you are already a member of the Alpha 1 testing group, you will still be testing on May 14th, but this testing will remain under NDA. Additionally, during the month of June, there will be spot stress testing that you will have the opportunity to participate in. Also, look at this. Given the delay in our testing schedule, I will be extending our refund policy from 30 days to 90 days going forward for all pre-orders, retroactive from May 5th, out of respect to those who purchased anticipating the NDA release for this month. As usual, we'll continue to showcase in-game footage during our live stream this month and next with the launch of our content creator program. Remember, vote Jahlon. And because TBC releases in June. Yeah, I mean, he already mentioned that. Remember, vote Jahlon for your favorite content creator. This will also provide some additional time for those of you who are interested in creating content around Ashes of Creation to prepare. Wow. Did the guy in charge of his studio just tell the content creators that they need to prepare? Like, not be the guy that made a big deal about the map and they found some shit on the map. Like, I don't know if they were trolling or what, but somebody linked me this video and they're making a big deal about the 4 divine gates. Like, they found them, like the rest of us didn't know what those are. Again, announcing a delay is not the highlight of my week, but it is my responsibility to provide the project and position ourselves for success. While I will take this on the chin for the next few weeks, if it means a better Alpha 1 presentation with more time for QA, a smoother studio move, and better participation and coverage overall for the test, then I think it's the right call. I hope you agree. Your faithful director, Stephen Sharif. Can I just say that number one, I need this image. I need this image. That would be great. But number two, nobody can say anything. Nobody can. I can't even. And I'm the gold standard of advocacy and the counter opposition argument. And I got nothing. I'm gonna save this. No, I'm gonna save it. Ashes 101 core images. That. And then I need to. I can't say anything to that. And here's why I can't say anything to that. So number one, I like something that I like something here that I see. And what I see is I see the word I. I see the word I a lot. Steven's not hiding behind the royal we. I know this is not ideal. I will be moving. I am going to explain in detail. I want to check for a word. You know what word I don't see here? I don't see the word polish. Because you guys know back in March when I did that video that I didn't earn any friends at Intrepid when I did that delay letter. Preview week now, preview weekend, likely plenty of intermittent testing between though. Yeah. There is. You were already saying that would be a smart move a week ago when the Burning Crusade was initially launched. Yeah, there is absolutely no reason for Intrepid Studios to die on that hill. So you guys know, and I want my community to know this. Okay? I want my community to know this. There are several times where Steven or another Intrepid member will reference something out of one of my streams or something out of my videos. You guys sitting around here holy hell, it's hot up here. You guys sitting around hour after hour after hour after hour in this show, right? You guys create a community that has a voice. You guys have created the community. The community has a voice. I don't have a voice because I can't suddenly start speaking out against what my community wants. But I have said from the very beginning that original timeline was bad. And I've said from a project management point of view, that original timeline was bad because, and I've already switched it. So let me bring it back up. Let me grab the other one. And I'm going to bring up a couple of them, right? Let me bring up this one first, right? This original timeline was bad. And here's why it was bad. Because they were going to do the week-long preview from March 19th to March 26th. So, I can't answer your question about what NDA you'll get to sign because the signing of the NDAs and how that works is covered under my NDA. Just rest assured, if you're supposed to test, you'll get your NDA to sign. But this was the original timeline, okay? This was the original timeline. Wait, hold on. So for those of us that upgraded to Alpha 1 and are not returning our purchases, were we supposed to receive an email with NDA info, or was it automatically applied on purchase, and where do we find it? It should be on your website. Yeah, okay. It should be on the website for you. Your inventory should now say Alpha 1. But anyway, this was the original testing deadline, and they said May 26th, right? And the next testing piece was going to be April 6th. Now, you can believe me, you don't have to believe me. When it comes to parsing data, the Air Force trained me very, 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 very well to parse through data, look at things, figure out what needs to be fixed, and then push forward. And every time Intrepid has done a testing iteration, I've been very, very, very confused. And the reason why I've been very, very, very confused is because they will do things like do 11 days between testing cycles. Well, 11 days between testing cycles, number one, isn't enough for them to even do an iteration. Very, very, very bad to only have 11 days if you need 14 days on a sprint. It also gives you no time to parse the data. It gives you no time to QA your own fixes. You really need a month between testing events, right? To parse the data, develop tasks, spend 2 weeks doing the tasks, and then spend a week QA checking the fixes, cooking the build, and putting it out the door. So there are lots of things. There are lots of things that needs to happen. Do they have automated testing? Yes, they have. Well, they don't have automated they have automated testing. They also have internal QA to give you a more thorough answer to the question you're asking. They have a QA department. Right now, they don't have sustainment and operations cut off. They have all development, but they do have a standalone QA team. So, on the original timeline, they only had 11 days between the end of their testing session and their next one. And then on the updated one that we've been working on for several weeks, right? They had 10 days between the end of it and the next one. And you guys, if you remember, if you've been here long enough, you're gonna realize I said this when on March 13th when this schedule came out. I said you're not giving yourself enough time. So I am very, very, very happy to see for a change that they're going to do testing May 14th, 15th, and 16th, as a 3-day event. Plus the fact, I did see what you said. If they knew they wouldn't make it for May 14th, they should have said way earlier. How could they have said way earlier when they didn't know until today? Because Steven talks about it where oftentimes the bug fixing can really tighten up things pretty quickly. So I gave it until the end of this weekend to evaluate. Again, Intrepid is damned if they do, and Intrepid is damned if they don't. Well, if they didn't know until today, then they just shouldn't give dates. You, my friend, have no fucking clue about project management. That's all I want to say to you. If that statement just came out of your mouth, you have never been a project manager. You don't understand project management. Period. Because I've had shit go wrong. I had laser distancing, laser measurers, in-ground weight scaling for the KC-46 demonstration. It was all done. It worked. We'd been using it. That shit worked all the time. We had 2 sets of them. That shit worked all the time. We had done a real-world mission the week prior. Just because I wanted to make sure, I sent my guys over it, right? With a K loader, and the fucking thing worked. And then the KC-46 team comes out to evaluate our ability to, to take on the project, and the shit breaks, both of them. Why did they break? Not our fucking fault. Developer, push the fucking patch, okay? If you don't understand that sometimes shit breaks, then you don't understand project management. Sure, were they cutting it close? Sure, absolutely. Should they have cut it this close? No. Is Intrepid learning? Yes, absolutely. There's no excuses here. They didn't make excuses. Look at all this. I want people to look at this. Intrepid realized last time when they said we're delaying for polish, I was the first person there to say, you're full of shit. If you go back to that video that let's, I'm just going to drop the video on you guys. If you haven't seen this masterpiece, I really believe that you should go and watch it, because I didn't give them an inch of leniency because they delayed. Because what they came out with was, we're delaying for polish. And I said, oh, you're delaying for polish? Okay, let's shred that shit, right? So this is the delay for polish video that I did. I tore them up. We just saw last week, Elion got crucified. Elion got crucified live to the people. And remember, Elion doesn't have is the number of people. And they're not afraid. Appreciate that, Princess Kenny. Elion doesn't have the 3 million people, right? They don't have the 3 million people waiting to play. Web systems, launcher and patcher stability. So at least they've given us 4 days notice. And what did I say? What did I say? Many times. They didn't have enough time to get data and make fixes. Also, I want to remind people. They didn't. You're saying it's not their fault. That's how testing works. But if it happens every time, then they should stop giving definitive dates. It's only hurting them. It's not hurting them. Okay? Because if you have Alpha 1, you're still testing on Friday. That's what I think people are missing out of this. You're still testing on Friday. Okay? I don't have this letter memorized yet. If you are already a member of the Alpha 1 testing group, you will still be testing on May 14th. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Number one, they're still testing on the weekend. Is this a joke? No, it's not a joke. And if you're going to be that negative, come back in 6 months. That's all I can tell you. The only thing that's changed is the NDA is pushed a month. Yeah. And here's the thing. What did I tell you guys week after week after week? And I said it. If Steven called me up and said, hey, Jay, I need your project management expertise. I've said it, and I don't have the clip of it, but I'm sure we could find it. No, we probably couldn't. I stream too many hours a week. I actually said, I said the very first thing I would do if Steven called me up and said, I need you to do project management for me, the very first thing I would do when I arrived was going to be, this June 1st testing is getting moved to the right at least 3.5 weeks because you didn't have a development cycle there. But I said many, many times, if Intrepid called me up and said, if Steven called me up and said, Jay, this is a marketing move by Intrepid, not a product move. No, it's not a marketing move. They're going to take a bigger hit in the short-term marketing than anything else. I agree, but I'll remind you, some people still use waterfall methods in dev, so 4 days can seem too short. Yes, but if anybody says I use waterfall and my project management experience leads me to say, I'm going to put my hand up and say, you use waterfall. Intrepid doesn't. So if the only subject matter expertise you have is waterfall, then you don't understand how the pieces fit together. In waterfall, you should never have a 4-day out notice because you've been laying that shit out for years. Now, is some of it due to not only ESO, but also the Burning Crusade Classic? Yes, it is. Okay? Yes, it absolutely is. In fact, Steven actually says it. We estimate that 25% of our current tester pool are active players across these titles. Who is the idiot that gets in the ring with Mike Tyson? Unless your name is Little Mac, right? You don't get into the ring with Mike Tyson unless you're Little Mac. If you're a featherweight, you stay the hell out of the heavyweight division. Why does Intrepid want to get into the ring where let's lay out the possible here. Let's Bob Ross this up for a second. Let's lay out a couple of scenarios. Ready? And we're gonna include everybody. So we're gonna put ESO up here. Okay. We're gonna put ESO up here. We're gonna put Blizzard here. I should have put we'll put WoW there, right? And then we'll put Ashes here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say Ashes good, Ashes bad, WoW good, WoW bad, ESO good, ESO bad. Now, let's just look at the combinations. No, New World doesn't go up because New World's irrelevant to this conversation. Okay? And it's not that it broke the day before. Guys, if you come to this channel, I expect you to do a couple of things. And one of those things that I expect you to do is actually do the reading. I expect you to actually read the letter, not glaze over it, okay? I expect you to actually read what it says. Steven had given them a deadline of this weekend. They didn't make the deadline. But Steven was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. If you go all the way back to the interview I did with him in October, we talk about APOC, we talk about Castle Siege testing. Well, give me a second. We'll get to a lot of topics. But here's, if ESO goes good, and WoW goes good, it doesn't matter if Ashes is going good. Because if ESO is going good, and WoW is going good, where's all the media going to be on ESO and WoW? WoW finally gets something right. WoW turns around, their players are down by 29%. What if they managed in this ESO patch to fix the combat? Holy shit. So if ESO is good and WoW is good, it doesn't matter if Ashes is good because Ashes isn't a released game yet. Now, we take these off. If ESO is going good and WoW is going bad and Ashes is going good, guess what? Ashes and ESO don't get any media coverage. Why? Because when the lumbering dinosaur is off balance, stumbling around in the media, where is the story? What is the purpose of media? Advertisement and column inches. MMORPG has to write a story. Are they going to write a story about Ashes Alpha doing really well, or are they going to write a story about WoW's you know, most recent expansion or expansion, because it's the Burning Crusade for Classic, going bad. The good authors are going to be the ones that are writing about WoW going bad, and the person who writes the story about Ashes of Creation is the person who watches my video, reads the Ashes post, and puts together a couple of lines, and it goes nowhere. So then let's go the other route. If this is good and this is good and this goes bad, you're going to hope that you don't get media coverage because your shit's going bad. And then what if the unthinkable happens and all three of them are bad? Well, now Ashes gets labeled in with every other fucking bad story because every bad story about MMOs sucking on 1 June includes Ashes. Intrepid had no win here. Intrepid had absolutely no win here media-wise. Now, if somebody says to me, well, it shouldn't be a marketing event, it should be a testing event, you're 100% absolutely right. And guess what? Intrepid's still doing the testing event this weekend. So where is the Intrepid failed? Every single thing you do, remember guys, and this isn't the first time I've said it on my show. I have all these books back here. I've got all this stuff up here. Marketing is every single thing you do to advance the name recognition of your product. I get this is not launch, but it's starting to sound like New World. Dude, you're negative for no fucking reason. They made a tactical move. They made a tactical move to get out of the way, of the rampaging lion. We talked about it on Friday. Blizzard is the Disney of the video game realm. Blizzard doesn't give a shit about anybody but Blizzard. Blizzard says, boom. This is not for you gaming. This is testing. We are testing. Yes, you're right. But this is Blizzard. Blizzard says 1 June. 1 June for whatever reason. 1 June for financial reasons. 1 June for, marketing reasons. And by the way, just so everybody knows, I know the one guy made the video that Blizzard is afraid of Intrepid. Blizzard's not afraid of Intrepid. The elephant doesn't really care where it puts its foot down, and it doesn't care if it steps on the mouse, right? To be honest, they don't give dates they cannot keep. That's all. You answered yourself, so I have no idea. Blizzard doesn't care about where it puts its hooves down. Blizzard just puts its hooves down, right? Blizzard says, we're going on 1 June. The smart move is get the hell out of the way. Also the fact that 1 June was already risky. ESO has their expansion on that day, right? ESO has their expansion on that day, Blackwood. So now, here's what people. This is why the MMORPG community is so horrible to the games they love, right? You called it last week or so. You're right. I did call it last week. I'm gonna say this. Why am I shouting? Because I can actually hear. You guys can't hear it, and I'll try to moderate it. I can hear the lawnmower, so I feel. Hold on. I feel. Oh, you know what? Not the lawnmower. That's better. I don't know if you guys could hear the floor fan. It's my deafness. I feel the need. I can still hear the lawnmower a little bit. I feel the need to talk over the white noise, but it wasn't the white noise in my ears. It was the fan on the floor. I didn't turn the fan off. Sorry, I've been shouting at you. Yeah, you can't hear it, but I can. So that's what's causing me to talk over it. But now that I realized, I thought it was the lawnmower. I was like, damn, that's a loud lawnmower. My guy's comes and gone. It is come and gone before I start. Regardless of whether A1 is a marketing event or not, as the first big scale look behind the curtains, it's going to have a ton of eyes on it. So the marketing view needs to be considered. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know somebody said, but I called it last week. No insult to Intrepid's marketing department. I have a pedigree in marketing. I get to do the easy thing. I get to do the easy. This is what I would do. This is what I would do if I was them. But I don't have to execute the plan. I don't have to map the plan. I get to say on Friday, I get to say on Wednesday, I get to say on Friday, I get to say this is what I would do. However, no, it's not hindsight, Princess Kenny, because I'm not saying this is what I would have said last week. I said this last week. What I said last week was they need to punt. In fact, I said months ago, like I said earlier, I said months ago that this schedule was bad. When they put this schedule out, I actually ripped apart this schedule on the show and I said, how can you make the same mistake twice? And what I'm happy to see now is I am happy to see that they haven't made the same mistake twice, because now they're going to get some data this weekend, May 14th, 15th, and 16th. And then May 16th, 4 weeks from that would put them at June 16th. But they are going to be moving. Let me make sure I get the. They're going to be in the middle of June. Now, for those, they shouldn't give next date until it's final. Yes, they should. Okay, they have to give dates. But now they've given these dates. Here, let me tell you how good these dates are. You know, no, it doesn't look bad. Dude, I don't want to insult you, but you're like the first episode of the newsroom. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, okay? If you don't give any dates in this industry, if you give no dates in this industry, you've just become vaporware. Should they have started off at the very beginning and not given any dates? Sure. But they're already 38 miles down that road. They can't turn around and go back. I told them, I warned them years ago. You can find all that footage on my channel. I warned them about dates, and they kept giving 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 dates. And now the fact is they have to give dates. They shouldn't have from the start, but yeah, they shouldn't give a next date until it's final. They have to. But they already went down the road of, I'm going to give dates. Okay? I'm going to give dates. But let me tell you, right off the bat, I look at these numbers. Not all WoW. WoW is losing their player base by big percentages. Says who? Says WoW. If you're a really huge WoW fan, the first thing I'm going to say to you, 10% of WoW base is more than all of AOC. No, it's not. Okay, guys, stop. Hold up. On my show, anecdotal evidence doesn't count. You need empirical data. 10% of WoW's player base is not more than all of AOC, because WoW would have to have 28 million players for 10% of their player base to be more than all of AOC. Final Fantasy XIV is not more popular than WoW at the moment. I also dispute that. I'm a Final Fantasy XIV player. I know how many people. 28 million seems right. Yeah, right. So that everybody knows, you're all getting pissy with each other. You're throwing anecdotal evidence at each other. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're all fucking wrong. Okay? You're all fucking wrong. Ashes of Creation has just under 3 million registered accounts. So that would mean WoW would need 30 million active players. So we're going to throw that one. Okay? We're going to throw that one off. But anyway, now that if you guys want to start throwing stuff back and forth, empirical data so I can look at it. The fact is, every time they do one testing of everyone is wrong except this guy. Yeah, because ironically, I actually research all the numbers that I get so that I can do a show about video games. I know that might be a huge, amazing thing that a streamer doesn't just get into a stream with a bikini on in a hot tub. I actually do some, God forbid, research. Also, just because that one irritated me. If you want to know how many active characters there are in Final Fantasy XIV, it's 647,345. You want a better number than that? That's a pretty specific number for you. Yeah, you mean streaming just isn't playing games and being hot? Well, damn, I'm screwed because I don't do either of those things. Anyway, back to this chart, right? Back to this chart. Inflatable pool. I don't need I have a hot tub. I actually have a jacuzzi. So you should have 4 weeks. You should have 4 weeks between your testing events. Now, will I say this? Will I say this in a Mean way. Yes. Now that my brain, hot tub stream, please, husband. Yes. The only thing I want to criticize Intrepid for, because my brain works in an odd way. You guys we've been talking, and my brain has been analyzing the letter, since we've gone. The only thing I do want to criticize is that while they are still doing testing on the 14th, right? They're still doing testing 14th. No, it was somewhere else, right? Hold on. Testing for the 14th of May will continue for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If I have to, because I hate giving A pluses. I hate giving A pluses. If I have to knock Intrepid off an A plus, I will say I don't see a reason why they couldn't do this week's testing event for the full week that they had planned. Put the NDA up on it, no problem. No problem. I'm going to knock them down to an A minus. Here's why I'm going to knock them down to an A minus. And I really hope that they hear this and they walk forward from this point. Every team at Intrepid Studios needs to get back into the studio. Every team needs to get back into the studio because the teams need to be talking. Do I think that they need as aggressive as a marketing department as they have? No, because they don't have a product to sell, because there's no and then, right? There's no and then. But I would have liked them to have an alpha build before they opened Alpha 1 sales. I would have liked them to have had the Alpha 1 build ready that they wanted to run with before they opened sales. However, knowing what I know and having been the guy that asked the question, having been the person, because you guys wanted me to be at the head of the mob with the torches and the pikes and killing the beast known as Apocalypse, having been the guy that has wounded the beast, and knowing that they wanted to move the siege system back into the MMORPG build, okay? I want to criticize them. I enjoyed Apocalypse, and I was looking forward to Castle Sieges, but then they monetized it the way they did. They made a bunch of marketing mistakes, and as a marketing guy, I had to crucify the product. The only thing is I think everybody Intrepid, I think everybody's rowing at a different pace, which is okay, because they're fragmented, and there is a certain je ne sais quoi about being in the studio with people. I've worked remotely. I've been on the road for long periods of time. I ran my flight from Squadron Officer School. I ran my flight from Air and Space Basic course. So I know what it's like to be at one event trying to manage something back home, and that sucks. I know what management and leadership by telework means. I also know programmers, and any of you that are programmers, you're gonna agree with me here. Programmers, for the majority, fall into two groups. The guy that says he can get it done by Friday and it's going to take him till next Wednesday, or the guy that says it's going to take him 3 weeks, but the guy who gets it done in 3 days. Programmers tend to fall into the ones that think they can get it done sooner than they can and they can't, or the ones that think they need a lot more time and they really don't. And when you start letting people have that freedom, it plays hell with project management. My response to the programmers I oversaw, because I oversaw 2 software projects, and I'll tell you, out of all the different types of projects, I oversaw construction, command leveling, AFSC realignment, education, training. Did I say construction? Because I did a lot of those. I hated the 2 software projects. I fucking hated them. Because number one, I'm not a subject matter expert. Number 2, yeah, go ahead. throw a link. So my yeah, I feel that on a personal level. Oh, that'll take an hour to implement. 3 days later. Yeah. So the problem is I have a very unique management or very unique motivational style to get people done. But you have to see those people in person. And I told you, I had a brilliant guy that worked for me. He was my 9 to 5, he was my 9 to 6 guy. Because we had to have 24-hour coverage. We had people come in at all different hours. He was my 9 to 6 guy. But he used to think that 9 to 6 meant he could walk in at 8:58, hang up his jacket, mull around, read the paper, get a cup of coffee. Maybe by about 9:20, he had his computer turned on. And I finally had to pull him to the side and be like, hey, you need to start getting to work at 8:40. He's like, well, my shift starts at 9. I said, well, good. You recognize your shift starts at 9. Can you please start working at 9? Or come in at 8:40 to mill around, fill up your coffee, read the paper, do all that shit. Construction works the same way. You don't tell the customer on a wire deadline because problems always rise. You look lazy if you miss it. Yeah, absolutely. But then again, Mr. Valentine, I'm sure you've been there. You told the customer that they can have their house on, that you told the title company, you've already scheduled closing with the title company for Monday at 5. Shit, not even Monday at 5. Monday at 9 o'clock. You're the first close of the day. And you're there all fucking weekend. I've been there. I've been there, done that, have the t-shirt, been laying tile, cutting trim, staining trim in the garage, like fucking working 36 straight hours, man. Because you have to be done. Because you have to be done. Otherwise, the contract says you owe ass tons in penalties and fees and loss of profit. Oh yeah, I've been there. If we were talking launch, if we were talking launch, this would be a different story. So am I going to ding them a little bit? Am I going to ding them just a little bit because they sold Alpha 1 and they didn't have an Alpha 1 candidate to go with? Sure, and I think that's fair. And I think that's fair. In fact, I think I would be disingenuous if I didn't bring that point up. However, Steven doesn't hide behind the word polish this time. And Steven says, while I will take this on the chin for the next few weeks, if it means a better 1 alpha presentation with more time for QA, a smoother studio move, and better participation and overall coverage for the test, then I think it's the right call. You know what? That's like that big baller shit, right? That's that big baller shit, bar none. Like, hey guys, I'm telling you why I'm doing it. And I'm doing it. It's kind of like I watched a chief once address a bunch of people, and the chief he wasn't delivering good news. And I remember he walked into a meeting and people kept raising their hand and asking questions. And they said, he said, this is for informational purposes only. This is happening. I do want another reason for cutting the week preview. Well, they already told you, okay? You said this is what they all say, though. Mark Jacobs been saying this shit for years with Camelot Unchained. You're tired of it. But the difference here is you're still testing on Friday. You're still testing on Friday. And here's the difference. Look at the last delay letter. Okay, I'm not going to end up anything. March 13th. An update on the alpha. So let's look at the last one, right? Let's look at the last one. Over the past few months of testing, we made significant progress. See, the last one, Steven's learning, right? Let me bring up the two because I'm going to be able to flip between them. That's not the right one. This is the right one. Okay, look at the one from March, right? And I'm just saying he always takes responsibility, but it doesn't change the fact they're years and years behind. I don't think they're years and years behind. I don't think they're years and years behind. If you're talking about Ashes, I think they had an I think they had an unrealistic timeline to begin with, but I want you to look at the growth Steven has had. Oh, not Ashes, Camelot Unchained? Okay. I want you to look at the growth the creative director has had in the last couple of months. Over the past few months, we have made significant progress with our Alpha 1 features and performance. The preview test in December, blah, 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 blah. A whole paragraph of bullshit fluff. As a result, I wanted to tell you that our Alpha 1 play schedule has shifted accordingly. And then look at this. 1, 2, a schedule, 3 paragraphs. Wishing you the best with much love and appreciation. Okay. 3 paragraphs. We're pushing by 2 months. You guys saw my video on this. I crushed them. Let's look at the difference. No fluff, no filler, no bullshit. Some recent developments have caused me, not the royal we, have caused me to reevaluate our upcoming test schedule and make some necessary adjustments. I will be moving the NDA release and the June 1st Alpha 1 start test to July. Boom. That for me is like I'm taking ownership of this. Let me say, I don't know if he's read it. But he sure as shit is living it, right? He sure as shit is living this book. Maybe he read the book. Maybe he was lurking in my show and he heard me say he needs to read that book. It's not a long read. You need to read that book. Each and every one of you. It's in my blacksmith down below. You can scroll down in my professional development section. You can get this book for about $8. In fact, one day I may give these away, right? I may give these away. That's how powerful that book is. But then here's the next thing. What was their last delay? 3 paragraphs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Holy shit. Yeah, we're delaying. I'm going to take credit for it. I don't know if it was me, but I'm going to take credit for it. Because I know the last video didn't make me any friends at Intrepid. And I said, you hid behind the word polish. The word polish doesn't appear in here. Okay, the word polish doesn't appear in here at all. So, boom. Look at, they're actually telling you what's, people were asking me, there's a thing up here, what will be an Alpha 1? That was one of the 2 videos that I was going to be working on today. One of the 3 videos, because with my wife in the hospital this morning, that they were an hour and 40 minutes late. That jacked everything up. But I was going to be doing my Alpha 1 tips video and my what will be an alpha video and my Elyon video. Now I got some breathing time. So how much in the weeds is that book, like knowing terminology and trade terms? None. It's a leadership book. It's a leadership. It is a leadership book, bar none. Yeah, I'm on the good stuff. So I don't have a problem. And here's the biggest one, guys. Here's the biggest one. If I don't have a problem with, hold on, give me 1 second. I will get you the book. If I don't have a problem with the delay, okay? If I don't have a problem with it, then I would really, really wonder why other people have a problem with it. Because I am more than happy now that we've gone through it, we've laid it out, we've designed it, we've gotten into it. Tell me now what the concerns are. Because now, you guys know I'll be doing a video later. Because dev team after dev team does the same bullshit to the MMO community over decades. So, I'm gonna go a completely different thing, but because parents beat their kids, and I'm a parent, I beat my kids, because that's kind of what that logic is. Dev team after dev team does the same bullshit to their MMO communities. How can you guys not be jaded by now? Because it's not about the bad news. It's about how the news is presented to you. If Steven had released the same copy of the letter he did 2 months ago, I would just stop the show. I would be like, guys, I'm going to stop the show. I'm going to go work on the video because I think at this point, my content creator scalpel is needed in surgery. I would stop the show right about here and I would say, you know, we've covered it live. Let me go do the video now. Sure, the conversation, I've read this, I'm ready. I can go, boom, I can go do the video. I can knock the video out. But I'm not, you know, I'm not worried. Yeah, again, I don't know what's the issue. If you're a tester, you still get the test on 514. You're still testing on time. Now, a dev team needs to prove me wrong. Okay, here's a dev team that's going to prove you wrong. But now here's the problem with that. What if the game that proves you wrong is Arc-Age 2? Are you going to go play Arc-Age 2 just because the dev team delivers on time? Just because the dev, I don't think delivering on time is a good benchmark for quality, right? I don't think that just because they delivered on time that it was good. I think verbal NDA isn't a thing. There is no such thing as a verbal NDA. You will sign an NDA of some sort of or another. So like I said though, just in case you weren't here, what I went over was it doesn't matter if you've got ESO, WoW, and Ashes all going into testing on the same day. Then Ashes loses. There is no path to win for Ashes. Because if these two are bad and this one's good, it gets overshadowed. If the Lumbering Beast is struggling, it gets all the news. If the Lumbering Beast is doing well, it gets all the news. If ESO is good and WoW is good, it doesn't matter if Ashes is good. ESO and WoW get the news. I think Intrepid, not only do I think Intrepid made the right play, I quarterbacked that play on Friday. I said, you got ESO and WoW coming out on June 1st, and your timeline was always bad to begin with. I've said this timeline was bad since the day they put it out. And you know what? Maybe somebody at Intrepid watches my show. Maybe Steven watches my show. I know Steven watches all of my videos. He probably saw in a video somewhere where I said the schedule was bad. What does it matter where they get the right answer from? You should never have a testing event with less than 4 weeks before the next testing event when you're working on 2-week sprints. With how much coverage July 1st was going to give TBC and ESO the month of June, whatever hopeful non-NDA coverage for Ashes would have been squandered. This was such a good decision. It was a good decision. Because Asmongold is a driving factor here. A rising tide lifts all boats. People are paying the test. Why would the timeline of other games have any impact? Is that a real statement? Because I'm not sure if you actually mean that or if you're trolling. Because absolutely, the you paid to test and you still get to test this weekend. That hasn't changed. But starting your non-NDA event. Remember, guys, I tell you, marketing is all about. It's a magic trick. It's the pledge. It's the turn. It's the prestige. This is a sequence of events, right? And this sequence of events needs to follow. Otherwise, you lose momentum. You lose your footing. So you've got, in a magic trick, you have the pledge, the turn, and the prestige, right? So the pledge, you have the May 14th through the May 21st testing. And then that leads into, and then what? And then what? We're not doing our next round of testing until July because we're smart and we got the hell out of WoW's way. And then what? I'm a content creator. I make more content for Ashes of Creation week to week than anybody else. I do more hours. I do more hours than any other content creator on Twitch. I'm not upset about them moving the NDA testing to when I know it's going to be better. You're going to do a studio move at the same time as up to a third of your development team. Oh, appreciate that. That's old school. That's an old school alert. You're gonna have a third of your team, your development team, cut to ops and sustainment. Because you guys do realize that, right? That they don't just suddenly open the closet. They don't suddenly open up the closet and more developers come out like a fucking clown car. Like, oh, yeah, we have 108 developers working on Ashes of Creation right now. Oh, but we're going into live ops. So, oh shit, open the closet door. 45 more clowns just came out of the closet because we need them. Oh, that's our ops and sustainment team. Make sure to put them away when you're done. I mean, remember that. The people to do ops and sustainment, 24-hour ops, having people in the office, having things going well, you take that out of Hyde. You take that out of your pool of people. So I think it's brilliant. Get the most bang for your buck on top of So Intrepid needs to learn that when they're gonna they gotta have all their ducks in a row. And Steven really needs a no man. Steven really needs the yeah but guy. Steven really needs a yeah but guy. Hey, we're gonna open up Alpha 1 sales. Yeah, but we don't have an Alpha 1 client ready to go. Well, we're gonna open up Alpha 1 sales anyway. Yeah, but we don't have Castle Siege ready to go either. And then at that point, Steven needs to be like, turn to the yeah, but guy. You seem to have your job is specifically at meetings to convince me not to do what I want to do. You're the guy that tells me no, right? Now, I've had that job. It's a good job. It's a rough job. Your boss tends to hate you a lot, but it's the guy that protects your boss's signature. I don't want Alpha 1 to show like a pile of dog shit because a rising tide lifts all boats, and a maelstrom sinks all boats equally. Wouldn't Steven's yeah but guy basically be Jahlon's advocate? The Steven's yeah but guy should just be Jahlon. Really, to be honest, just start sending the checks to the Paradox Gaming Network. Just start sending them. A good analogy of the entire situation would be Ashes being a human standing a spot surrounded by a pile of shit, and wow, an elephant charging straight through that spot. Ashes could either stand there and get trampled by the elephant, or they could move aside and step on the pile of shit. Yeah. You don't have to be that colorful, but yeah. Why are you gonna stand there and get you win nothing? You win nothing. Why do you want to die on this hill? It's like the movie Ironclad. The Norse guy has 1,000 warriors, and the king wants to take a castle. And the Norse guy, he's like, it's a rock in a field. There's 8 men in the castle. They can't flank us. We'll just go around. It's a rock in the field. But King John was all about, that's my castle. You will take it. The Norse guy lost his life and all of his troops trying to take a fucking castle that was meaningless. Why do you want to die on the hill of meeting a deadline for the sake of meeting a deadline when you're already meeting the bulk of the deadline? Now, would it be a good question and maybe I'll try to get this answer. Maybe I'll try to get this answer from Steven. Would it be a good question to ask, why are you only doing a 3-day testing window instead of a 7? Sure. I am not going to say that that's not a very valid, a very fair question. I believe that question should be asked. They should absolutely positively ask the question, why are you only doing 3 days instead of 7? In fact, I will put that question into Steven. So you'll let me. Where's my highlighter? Let me, because I always go through my show notes. In fact, you know what? I'm not even gonna wait. Why wait? Let me just VFR direct to the man.
I say, Sprocket, we've reached the end of another video. Time to thank the sponsors. Yes, that will do, that will do. Shall we pop off for a spot of tea?